I had a camera with me, and my camera took, rechargeable batteries, and my batteries had totally went dead while we were driving through that specific area. Like, I had taken pictures all morning, but once we entered that specific area of Hooper, headed towards New Mexico, the batteries just totally went dead. So it was kind of strange.
Wow.
That's kind of common, too. People saying when they're near a UFO or whatever, they're, either their cameras, when they go to take a picture, or malfunction, or it's dead. And then all of a sudden, when they get away from the area, all of a sudden it works again.
Yeah, I've read that too. I've heard that myself. But, it was just a strange experience, and I thought I'd give you guys a call in and tell you guys about it.
Now, Catherine, what I need you to do, you got a pen and paper there by any chance? If you don't, I'm going to announce it a couple of times here in the next 15 minutes. An email address. You need to send me an email address. I got your phone number. I'll match the two together, and I'll send you a book out next week.
Okay, that works for me. I don't have a pen and paper on me, but I can send you my address and everything. If that's okay with you, like via Facebook or something. I'll send you
that'll work.
Email.
That'll work. You can go through that too. And, send me a text, go through Messenger, through Facebook. And
absolutely.
And I will send you a book out next week.
All right, awesome. You guys have a good night, though, and I'm glad I got to share my story with you guys.
Well, thank you for calling in, and you have a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
You too.
Okay, you take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, at least we got one phone call there.
That's that was kind of deja vu of your little story there in the middle. Remember, you was coming back from Carolina, and you had seen something there, a light hit your car or something like that?
Yeah, that I still think about that. And I find it so very interesting what happened. I was driving a GTO, and, it had a lot of horsepower. Now, at least it had the reputation of having, a lot of power.
Yeah.
And I remember going through New Mexico. They didn't, back at that time frame, I think it was like 100 miles an hour, 105 mile top speed going through the desert on the freeway. It was crazy. And so, hey, if it says 100 or 90 or whatever it was, I can't remember. I went that speed and probably added another 10 miles or 20 miles to it. And I remember, cruising, right? And all of a sudden, me and my wife at the time, the car lit up inside. I mean, like you could barely see. It was so bright. And all
at
around
100 plus miles an hour. Too,
yeah.
Right?
And all around the car lit up. And I started thinking, okay, this must be a police helicopter. I am busted. I pull off the side of the road. Okay. And, my wife at the time, she's freaking out. She goes, oh, man, we just had a budget, enough money to get home. Okay. And I was living on no-dos from North Carolina all the way back to Seattle at the time. In other words, you're talking about a 4-day drive without sleeping. Wow. And I tell you, I was really wired. Those no-dos can get you real wired after you're on them for a couple days steady. And, I get out of the car, and all I see is this bright light for, maybe a couple seconds. But I don't hear any sounds of an egg beater, of a helicopter. No, nothing. I don't even hear the sound of the desert. It's just totally, totally quiet. And then, poof, it was gone.
Wow, that would freak me out. Listen, you're in the middle of nowhere, right? I mean, like in a desert, like nothing.
There was nothing there. There was a car, and I wasn't smart enough to go maybe a couple hundred feet behind me. It stopped, too. But I wasn't smart enough, afterwards to go up to the car. Did you see that? I just got in the car and got the hell out of there. And, I remember the time, Julie, that was my wife at the time, she kept looking, for the windshield and side window, looking for, like UFOs or stuff like that. And we were kind of scared, I'll be honest with you, but kind of like after the day of that happening, you kind of forget about it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of that kind of gets your attention. You're in the middle of nowhere, 100 mile an hour, middle of the night, and your whole car inside lights up and there's no noise out there or nothing, yeah, that'd get your attention. My question to you was, the car behind there, was it a 1950s brand new sedan?
No,
Men in Black?
Okay, come on. I have no idea. I couldn't. It was nighttime. I didn't. Who knows what it was? It could have been a Corvette silver one. I don't know.
I just messing with you, because you always bring that up about the Men in Black, you know.
Yeah, well, again, if anybody else is brave enough to give a call, okay? See, that proves there's somebody listening off of Facebook on the show, listens. The number is 1-253-203-6681. That's 1-253-203-6681. You can talk to me, Gary, or you can talk to James, or you can talk to the both of us. But, I always wonder, that maybe I lost time, maybe that we were abducted, maybe we weren't. Because, the story about that, too, is, some years later, of course, if we were abducted, I wish they would have took her on the spaceship and just let me go by myself. Of course, that would have been very hard to explain when I got home, when her parents goes, "Where's Julie?" She was abducted. Okay, well, I go to prison for 20 years. But, I can tell you, we're going to jump from around 1974. We're going to jump now into the 90s. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what. Something strange happened. I had some medical conditions. I went to a surgeon, and they did, a CAT scan or whatever type of testing they did. And I, had that done. I go to the doctor's office. A week later, I'm sitting in the doctor's office, and the head nurse comes walking out, and she says, "Gary, when did you get that metal in your upper part of your back?" Yes, I had a cough. I'm smoking a cigar, okay? I had a cough there. I had to mute that.
So, you didn't, there was no history of anything in your back until this.
No, I tell you what, when I was in the military, my tailbone got, shattered, and they had to put it back together. That's the tailbone. Now, this is the upper part of the back. Okay? Mm-hmm. There was no puncture marks, no scars, no nothing. And I said to the head nurse, no, you must got this mixed up with somebody else. And she goes, no, the doctor's going to talk to you about it. And I'm starting to go in my mind, hey, I never, no way, Stratton, I don't remember anything. So I go in and talk to the surgeon, right? And the first thing he goes, well, did you ever have surgery on the upper part of your back? And I go, geez. No, you can see where the scar is in the lower part of my back, right by my butthole, But I said, no, I've never had any surgery in the upper part of my back. And he goes, well, you got a piece of metal, embedded right next to your spinal cord. And I go,
oh, wow.
Well, no. And he goes, you sure you didn't have surgery at some point when, whatever? And I go, no. And I started getting concerned, and I said, okay. I said, well, can you remove it? And he goes, no, we can't remove it because the scar tissue, it's formed around it. If we go in there, you could be most likely in a wheelchair the rest of your life. In other words, I'd lose all my abilities from my arms down. And I said, okay, well, and I didn't think much of it. I kind of blew that off of my mind. I went and, had my other type of surgery done, and I didn't think anything of it, till one of my sons got in trouble, and I had to go to court in Pierce County every month for a year. And, the first time I walk into the courthouse, I set the alarm off. And I found, wow, this is crazy. So, I was, a bigger guy. And, the first thing they do is, okay, empty your pockets, empty your, put your wallet, do all this stuff, right? Take your belt off. Okay, well, I'm wearing jeans. If I take my belt off, my pants might fall down. Oh, we don't care. Just, you have to take your belt off, right? And I'm still setting off the wands. I'm setting off the machine you walk through. And, then they say, okay, go ahead and go through. And then the following month, I remember going there. I set everything off again. There's a bunch of people waiting to get into, this is a superior court. big thing, right? And I set everything off again. So then they said, "Oh no, you got to come to this special room."
That's where they put the gloves on, isn't it?
Yeah, and they think I'm trying to maybe smuggle something in, and that the embarrassment of that. And then one other time I did that, and my pants fell down to my knees. Good thing I had clean underwear on. But I kind of was upset, and then I think about a year after that, I had to fly to I can't remember. It was on the East Coast, and we had to make a couple stops. Like one, it was in I can't even think, Minnesota somewhere for some reason. And I remember I get off the plane, okay, and then go onto the plane again. They have to you have to walk through this machine, okay, to get on the next plane, and I set it off. And then that's when I found out the latex gloves could actually hurt. But and I to this day I don't know what happened, where I got it. But then after getting back into doing paranormal and talking about a lot of UFOs, I started here recently thinking maybe that night in the desert when I saw that bright light. And it seemed like only a matter of a fraction of a second or two, and it was gone. Well, maybe we were abducted. Who knows? But I certainly don't remember how I got this metal in my back. I asked my mom at the time because she was still living. My dad was still living at the time, and I said, "Did I ever have?" No, never. So who knows? There was some little piece of metal in. And, I've had other CAT scans done since then, and it shows a little piece of metal next to my upper part of my spine.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Yeah,
to
go
this
ahead.
day, if somebody's got a rubber glove and they snap it, does that, give you flashbacks or get your attention or something? I mean, my God.
No, but I tell you, if you don't it's not fun going through experience.
No,
like that.
I know. That's what I mean. I had to be traumatizing. Jesus. And you did it more than, obviously it sounds like they did it to you a few times.
Yeah, virtually, considering going to court for a year and having to go through that each time.
Oh, my.
Okay, I quit flying after that, okay? I went flying for a second time. I had a friend of mine who, was a salesman, and he put on events. Okay, I don't want to talk about what, but he would go around the country and he would put on like a weekend event somewhere where people would come and pay money to listen to him talk. And he wanted my help, to go and set up the stuff. And he said, I'll pay for your first class flight. I won't give you more than a couple $100 for it. But and I figured, this is going to be cool. Well, he knew about this issue of me setting off these little alarms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we get in. I set the alarms off. Okay. Well, they do their little thing and they say, okay, get on the plane. Okay, so we're sitting in the seat, in first class on this plane getting ready to take off. And the stewardess walks by and he goes, "Do you know what he has in him?"
Well, they said that?
My friend, as a joke, he says, "Do you know what my friend has in him?"
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, soon as he said that, okay, she went and got the pilot. The next thing I know, security is on the plane. The next thing I know, this was in Dallas, by the way. That's where that one happened. It was in Dallas.
That must have made a mark because you remember the city on this one.
Oh, yeah. And next thing I know, the police are there on the plane, right? Now, people are getting pissed off because the plane now at this point was supposed to have been gone 45 minutes ago.
And it's your fault.
Right. So, they escort me off, and my friend, looks at me, and he was an old fart. He thought it was funny, okay? But he didn't want to admit he was joking, okay? And so he goes, "Bye, Gary." Well, then they end up taking him, too. But anyway, they take me in the special room. They interrogate me because they thought maybe I had some bomb or whatever, right? And then they start x-raying me and all this stuff. And he goes, "Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about." So they said, okay, fine. You know, you got a piece of metal on it. And okay, that's okay, whatever. So they let us go. The problem is I didn't fly first class back.